civil conversation over a controversial topic. That itself is very refreshing. A history lesson wrapped up in a sign that shows Coloradans like to speak up and stick to their roots. Let's make sense of this. Teachers in Denver could strike over pay. The district says they'll pay double for subs to keep classes going. You open the mail and you see the notice. It's jury time. Then you find out, hey, by the way, if your case is in federal court, you might not be getting your $50 a day till later. How would you decide that case? There is still funding for courts today, day 31 of the shutdown. After day 35 on Friday, that money's gone. Our Marshall Zellinger talked with one attorney who could actually benefit from this, but wants you to know about it.
The judiciary, which includes the 10th Circuit federal courthouses in downtown Denver, runs out of funding after Friday. The question to consider is, would the government stop appearing in court?
It's timely, and the press needs to be aware of what's going on here.
Denver attorney David Lane is fired up enough that he wanted to talk about this while on vacation.
The government is no different than any other litigant in court. If you go out and sue somebody and you don't pay your lawyer and your lawyer stops appearing, tough luck for you. You're on your own. Same with the government.
In Lane's case, he's defending a former prisoner who was assaulted in a Florence prison and is suing the guards in the Bureau of Prisons. The government, representing the prison, asked for more time before a hearing in the case because counsel for the United States in this case has been placed on furlough status and thus is not permitted to work. The judge approved the extra time, but wrote, "This does not guarantee that the court will grant additional continuances if appropriations are not restored in advance of the new deadlines."
If they miss deadlines, then plaintiffs could start moving for default judgments against the government because they're failing to prosecute their case. They're failing to appear in court.
Federal Court Judge Richard Mage, who presided over the Oklahoma City bombing trial, also cautioned about future delays in his courtroom. No further extensions will be granted, regardless of the lack of appropriated funds. And other federal judges across the nation are warning the same. The federal government's voluntary refusal to pay for its own agency's legal representation, despite ample resources to do so, does not constitute good cause for delaying this case. Another judge summed up the situation with, "It is laughable." Those judge excerpts were from civil cases, the kind that if the government loses, taxpayer money is awarded to someone. Criminal cases, murders, drugs, bank robberies, those are supposed to continue uninterrupted. And if you're called to jury duty for civil or criminal minutia starting next week, you won't get paid or reimbursed right away, so go in with a clear mind and do your civic duty.
Yeah, all right. It makes jury duty that much more enjoyable. Thank you, Marshall. When turmoil meets turmoil, there actually might be an opportunity. Here's the pitch we heard about for furloughed government employees looking for a side hustle. You could teach at Denver public schools, subbing at least if the teachers there go on strike. Here's our Steve Stager looking at how the district is recruiting.
Denver Public Schools has 1,200 substitutes on its on-call list, and though we don't know how many of the district's 4,300 teachers would walk out if there's a strike, it's pretty easy to assume they'd need more than 1,200 subs. So the district is looking to a group of people who didn't expect to have so much time on their hands.
One of the places where we're trying to reach out is we've got a whole group of federal employees who've been furloughed, who are not working or are not getting paid.
DPS Superintendent Susanna Cordova says they've already been reaching out during the government shutdown.
We have attended some of the work events where folks who are looking to pick up some extra cash can come substitute with us.
What does it take to be a sub? Colorado law requires a bachelor's degree and a license from the state. Then DPS requires you go through a background check with them, including fingerprinting.
We can do fingerprinting here on site, and so that's one of the things that we'll do to make it go a little bit faster. We'll fingerprint people here.
In fact, the district says it's working with the state's Department of Education to expedite licenses for subs looking to work for DPS. They'll pay for your fingerprinting and background checks. They'll reimburse the cost of your license. And they'll pay you pretty well. Double the typical rate, $212 a day for daily subs. And if you sub for the district on a regular basis, or you're a retired teacher, they'll pay you even more, $250 a day. Bottom line, Colorado's pool of available subs is already low.
No, we've got a really strong economy right now, and it's easy to get a job. And so subbing is probably not going to be the job that somebody who's looking for full employment would go to first.
So they're hoping this sweetens the deal a little bit. I reached out to some of the other big districts in our area today to see if they are worried about the resources DPS would take away if So if teachers do go on a strike, the subs they might take away. Douglas County got back to me. They say district leaders are working to make sure the disruption is minimal if a strike like that happens. By the way, even if the teachers vote tomorrow to strike, if the governor doesn't intervene, they still wouldn't go on strike until the 28th of January, which is Monday, a week from today.
All right, and if it does happen, where is the money coming for these highly paid subs?
Yeah, you're all of a sudden doubling that sub pay. That money would actually come from the teachers themselves. Since they are on strike, they're not getting paid. What they would typically be paid would then go to the subs to double that money up.
All right, very interesting. Thank you, Steve. Close to the state capitol, where a group of lawmakers are going to be deciding if a supervised injection site will come to Denver. That's where people would be able to use illegal drugs with trained help nearby if they overdose. Another group of people stood today and said, not here.
We're calling this an awareness rally. Let me get some pictures here. What we decided was we need to find an event, something that's happening that we could get out on a day like today, Martin Luther King Day. What a fantastic way to help our citizens be aware of something that's going on in the public arena that they may not be aware of.
My son is a recovering heroin addict.
My mom, I know she did heroin when I was a baby.
These are people from all over the state. Are you against the having drug injection sites? Would you support kids having the ability to go shoot up heroin?
I'm kind of conflicted on it.
It's getting really bad in Denver. People are dying on the streets like it's nothing. They need to get rehab, period. You know, there's no other way around it. And putting this site out here to help people so they could shoot up there is not helping them.
If something like this was around when my son was addicted to heroin, we might not have my son today.
But the way to help is not to encourage the problem. It's to address the core issue of the problem.
I want to be part of the movement to help stop this. I think we are inviting the drug dealers and more heroin users. We're actually encouraging drug use.
I don't know how something like that could be considered safe.
Enough is enough. We do not want our city full of drugs.
On the other end of this debate is a veteran in recovery, a man who also helps others as a part of his own journey towards recovery, saying they want to answer those questions. Here's a part of our conversation.
That's a fair criticism. It's not meant to get to the root of the problem. What it's meant to do is address what is essentially a public health emergency and as triage by preventing people from overdosing and giving them access to continued care. So it's part of a broader strategy that includes prevention and treatment and housing and criminal justice reform, among other things.
You know, one thing that I have been curious about is the idea that this would require somebody to leave where they are and go to an actual facility. Do you think people will actually do that?
Absolutely, because I mean, their life depends on it.
And from your experience, do you think having something like this and having access to it would have helped you?
In my own personal experience, yes, it would, because I had an overdose in Wichita Falls, Texas, when I got out of the military, and if it had not been for someone just coming to check on me, I wouldn't be here today. I came to with a ventilator, and had I had something like that, somewhere where I could have gone and been supervised, things would have been different.
Is the idea, and I've heard this before, is that it may not solve the problem, but it might keep someone alive long enough to explore treatment options. Is that part of it?
It's a part of the solution. It's not the solution, it's only a part of the solution.
So for as divisive as this topic has been, we've had some really intelligent and very respectful conversations with you guys against it and for it. And if there is a silver lining to such a controversial idea, it is that people are asking questions. We're trying to learn more, myself included. The opioid crisis is an issue that was around long before supervised drug use sites ever entered the picture and will still be here regardless if a site opens or not. With redevelopment comes a controversial 6-letter word. change. The Bridge of the Future in Denver will slowly come down over 3 months. That's because parts of East 9th Avenue near Colorado Boulevard is being redeveloped. The research bridge is at the old University of Colorado Health Sciences Center. The developer said that they're going to have to carefully break away pieces. They want to protect the road, the utilities underneath. The bridge was an example of mid-century modern architecture and was known for its clean lines. In a time of division, the life we celebrate today points to justice.
Dr. King reminded us that the time is always right to do what is right.
And refocusing on ideas that unite. And this is a little less courtesy than we're used to seeing in parking lots. Next.
Oh, it was nice today, wasn't it? It was almost 60 in January. Storm, what storm? Well, it's coming. And we go into our winter weather advisory at 8 o'clock. We look at 4 forecast models for snow typically, and the range is from about 1/10 of an inch on the RPM to almost 4 inches for the European. I think we'll be in just under 3 inches here as my forecast for Denver by midday tomorrow, but heavier amounts are certainly possible in areas around Evergreen, Conifer, and down toward the West Creek area, but a prime concern is a blizzard warning issued south and east. We had a high of 58 today, officially way above average. A host of winter weather and travel advisories. The area in hot pink is the area we're concerned about for blizzard conditions and dangerous travel tonight. A blizzard is indicated by winds 35 miles per hour or greater for 3 hours or more. Visibility reduced to a 1/4 mile or less, and heavy snow. And these are areas southeastern Parker, out around Castle Rock, out toward Byers, Lyman, and Agate. Heavy snow expected. Denver under a winter weather advisory for tonight. That'll continue through midday tomorrow. A fast-moving storm. It's out by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but that tight pressure gradient on the backside of it will keep the wind a feature for much of the day. And that wind is making for tough travel on I-70 tonight and will make for a very tough drive tomorrow morning. There may be school delays in the morning and some cancellations, especially south and east. Tonight in Denver, wind and snow, 2 to 4 inches of snow likely, with that winter weather advisory canceling out by midday. Highs will be a whole lot colder Weather in the lower 30s. We do get you into a clear and cold evening on Tuesday. We get a little bit of a break on Wednesday, flurries on Thursday, and then temperatures rebounding heading into the weekend. We, of course, will have extended coverage for you starting at 4 a.m. tomorrow. And don't forget our 9 News weather app. Track the storm, track the radar, track the snow accumulation forecasts, and we welcome your pictures and your photos. And Anusha, certainly viewers, a big part of helping tell this Colorado weather tale.
Yeah, definitely helps us keep tabs. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
For more than 3 decades, Denver has celebrated Martin Luther King Jr. Day with a parade, part march, part parade. Every year, we hear stories that make the lessons from the past more relevant than ever. Photojournalist Ama Arthur Asma brings us some of the voices from today.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring.
I come every year.
It looks like a lot of people are here.
We are the dream.
If Dr. King were here with us today, he would be so proud of everything we've accomplished, but he would also be telling us there is so much more we have to do.
Dr. King's memory is not simply honored by electing the first black congressman. It is by making sure that I am not the last black congressperson in Colorado.
Are we ready to march?
Am I ready to march? Of course.
Yes, I'm ready for it. I think they say from here to Civic Center Station is 5K.
I don't really get tired because I'm a kid.
We've been doing this a long time.
No, this is actually my first parade, or parade.
We've got songs singing, we've got drums playing, chants. It's just a really beautiful representation of what Dr. King wanted us to do, to be in community, making a difference, you know, with our neighbors.
I don't think that you would have seen a march like this during Martin Luther King's time, you know, before he died.
So my sign says, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that.
So today, right now, there's a huge mix of people out here, and to me that's beautiful because it says, you know, even though it stemmed from black people's struggle, it's like Martin Luther King also knew that everybody in the world was struggling. The same sort of thing that happened to black people in America happened to people all over the world, and it's happening today right now.
His dream goes on. It's still alive.
I hope that we can carry the energy into doing more things and not just leave it alone when the parade is over.
Representatives from both the Denver Democratic and Republican parties walked in today's parade, and just maybe that's an example of how universal Dr. King's message has become. Next is a conversation, and as you guys have learned, sometimes conversations start by calling each other out, like you've crossed a line when it comes to parking, or you just abandon the lines altogether and just hope that there is some kind of understanding going on here between the driver of that SUV and the driver of the Jeep. Nadine, thank you for sending this in. Can you top this one? Email pictures to next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. There's more to the iconic Welcome to Colorful Colorado signs. It's a symbol of Coloradans sticking to their roots. That and the most Colorado way to get a car wash in Rocky Mountain National Park. Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is a snowy scene inside Rocky Mountain National Park. Only gets video when you see two moose licking the salt off the side of a pickup. Wondering if that's very healthy for them. Travis sent in this video from a trailhead in Rocky Mountain National Park. Says it looks like it could be a cow and a calf doing the detailing work. Send your most Colorado pictures and video to next@9news.com or get our attention by using the hashtag #HeyNext. What do you think about this sign to welcome you into Colorado? Well, CDOT actually tried it out and they said people then said, no way, bring back the rustic looking one. This is just one of the interesting things we found out when we talked to CDOT about the history of the iconic Welcome to Colorful Colorado signs. The signs were first installed at our state's entry points in 1950, the time that auto travel was taking off after World War II. The state publicity director is the one who had the idea, so they tapped the Colorado State Penitentiary, who started making the signs. The first one was put up at Raton Pass.
They're very representative of a period in our state's history. It was before we kind of politically probably became more important on the map instead of just one of those rural western states. So it kind of represents that searching for identity and trying to establish identity as a state.
No one knew how iconic the signs were until the State Tourism Board and CDOT tried to replace them with a sign we showed you earlier. It was the winning design from a contest open to students at Colorado colleges. In 1991, the new signs went up, but they didn't last long.
That created quite an outrage among people that we were replacing these iconic signs with this newfangled sign as people saw it, and trying to modernize even people, but people like the old iconic signs.
The new signs were up for about 8 years before the Old West themed signs returned. The one you see today at 41 spots around Colorado. There's actually 42 if you count the one in History Colorado's lobby. Speaking up and sticking to our roots, CDOT and the State Tourism Board plan to put some more signs at welcome centers in Fruita, Burlington, and Julesburg. This way, people can take photos safely instead of trying to do it on the road. Signs placed too close to other signs can be a sign that things are about to get confusing. That's next.
Frank the Gargoyle is here to stay. Watch out, lizard people. Watch out, Illuminati. I don't hide. I'm right out here in the open.
It's a sign full-strength beer that you can get in gas stations and grocery stores can really be strong or make you think twice about your beer choices. 2 people sent us this pics. Ads for beer placed a little too close to a message on gas pumps at Circle K. What signs made you laugh? Email them to us or tweet them with the hashtag HeyNext. Thanks for hanging. We'll see you next time.